Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya. Naya, thank you so much for the support. Hope you are great. So I came across this video where this Ukrainian woman was talking about the problem with white immigrants, right? And what she said, she was really right on point because I think everything she said, I have also brought some videos relating to it here, right? Now she was talking about how all especially the white passing ones, right? Or the white ones do not feel like black people also like they feel like they are way better, and some of them are kind of white passing, making it even easier for them to maneuver some certain things. And then when people that look like me complain about some certain things happening to them as a demograph, they actually say something like, how can somebody complain about America, right? It's just like something a woman said, like, can black people forget about slavery and everything that happened to them because they are privileged to be in this land, because this land is the land of opportunities. So you are supposed to forget everything that has happened to you and then focus on probably living your life and making it as if they are still not going through the same that what happened to what happened to them back then is still not happening, like the system has been dismantled and all of that. So an African migrant said something. She actually said something, and I am really proud of her for speaking up, because she said that that she feels like she is giving more grace than black people, and that is true. Let's get into this video.
I do think that it's really easy to see the inequality in America as long as you don't fall for the individualist propaganda. And unfortunately, a lot of white immigrants do. That's why you can't depend on any white people, okay, even if they're an immigrant or anything like that, to have your back as a person of color, or to see what should be obvious to everybody to see, which is that this is an incredibly racist country. Because in fact, coming from another country can actually make you more blind to the racism, because there is this idea in America that every individual should be able to succeed. And that entire narrative really is relying on one or two or three feel-good stories of people who supposedly made their way up from the bottom. But a lot of people get this flawed perception about America that just because of one person made it out the mud, that the rest of the people can also make it out the mud. And it's like, no, that's not how it works. That one person is there as a dangling carrot in front of all the rest of us. See, this works especially well on a lot of people from countries that actually have a social safety net. I can speak for like Slavic, Eastern European immigrants here. A lot of people come from these countries with social safety nets, and they think that it's the same in America. They think that in order to be out on the street, as a homeless person, you would have to do all the same things that you would in Ukraine to end up on the street. And they don't understand medical debt. They don't understand student debt. They don't understand racism. They don't understand gerrymandering. They don't understand the vast and disparate living conditions that people can face in the United States because of the few that are allowed to succeed so far above the many, right? And everybody looks at them and doesn't realize that they're just one of the many, and that they're so much closer to the many than they are to a few. Ironically, for how well they come to adapt the conservative mindset in America, people like that will often, ironically, be also making money under the table and not paying into their taxes and still talking shit about other immigrants. So the disassociation is very real. A lot of people can have extremely dissonant opinions and still live just fine, like still not even feel bad voting against people's rights that are just like them, except for they're not going to get to benefit from the same system. And a lot of white immigrants think that in order to be, homeless in America, you had to make a lot of bad choices, which is not true. That's what it takes to become homeless in a lot of these Eastern European countries, because otherwise the government has to take care of you. The government has to give you a place to live. Or likely you inherited a place to live from your relatives or something like that, or you're able to find a place to live. It's not that hard, and you can always ask for assistance, and the government is not just going to let you live on the street unless you make that a very obvious choice, you know? It's just not the same issues as it is here. So a lot of people get up on a high horse as soon as they get off the plane or off the boat in America and start thinking that, you know, all the people on the streets made the choice to be on the streets, or all the people that are in jail really like made this conscious effort to be in jail, because once again, in European countries, there's nobody profiting off the prison system. Like, the government has to pay to upkeep it, so there's no incentive to like over incarcerate people. And a lot of people don't take the time to learn that. A lot of white immigrants don't take the time to learn that, and that's why they go around sitting on their high horse making racist conclusions about why certain races get incarcerated at higher rates, because they don't understand that it's a business and that this country is run like a business and not like a country. like that goes over a lot of people's heads. Like, they think that capitalism has a built-in social safety net, and it's like, no, capitalism is actively always working to erode the existing social safety net. And that does not happen in your countries, because likely you came from like a socialist country. And let's be honest, you probably also had no problem using the welfare system, using food stamps, using all of this stuff to get on your feet when you needed to get up on your feet. You just don't want other people to have that. You're like, well, obviously I needed the help because I just came to the country and I had $20 in my pocket and like nothing to my name, and I was escaping like bad economic conditions. But it's like, this country has built in bad economic conditions depending on where you go. And it's really hard for people to get back up on their feet. Not to mention the fact that America is literally the size of the continent that you used to live on. So you have to understand how much can happen here, you know? Somebody can like move to a whole new city and it's like moving to a whole different country because you don't have family. It's all a traumatizing experience, just like it was moving to a new country. Another factor in all of this is that white immigrants often don't consider how much their skin color plays into it. They assume that they are a marginalized group because they are an immigrant and because they do get treated a little bit differently because of that. So this is like very common among Eastern European Slavic immigrants. They'll be like, well, there's just something wrong because I was able to succeed just fine. Like, why are you talking to me about white privilege? Because I don't have white privilege because I'm an immigrant. And it's like, no, you literally do have white privilege even though you're an immigrant. So people treat you better as an immigrant because you have white skin. They're more patient with you. They're more willing to explain to you. They're less likely to call the cops on you if there's a misunderstanding. You benefit so much. They're more likely to give you a job because you're light-skinned. They're more likely to give you a better job because you're light-skinned. More likely to overlook an accent. More likely to make concessions to work with you. All of these things come into play. And yet, Eastern European immigrants will think that because they came here and had to learn the language and do all that, that they struggle as much or more than the Black community or the POC community in America. And it's like, no, you literally didn't. You didn't have to struggle as badly because you have white privilege. People have always been nicer to you than they would be to a Black immigrant. Also, the like built-in positive stereotypes, and this is specifically when it comes to Eastern European like white immigrants. Yes, there's the whole like Russians are villains trope, but that's like almost beneficial because like the US views Russia as a worthy adversary. So if you come from Russia or any of the countries that can be associated with Russia, like Romania, Ukraine, former USSR countries, you are also associated positively with like an equal threat, you know? You're also like viewed as like good competition, right? And so people want to bring you alongside because it's almost viewed as like you're like defecting from your side and like joining the US, but like you were always like a worthy adversary. Like There's like a lot of things to dissect about your privilege when it comes to that, you know? Whenever I tell people I'm, from Eastern Europe, former Soviet Union, it's like, oh, so you're like a badass, huh? Like you can kick some ass, or like they assume that I have like a scary husband or something. That's all built in privilege, because if you're, for example, like a Somali immigrant, people do not think of you in the same way. People assume certain things about you because of how your people have been pictured and depicted in the media. It's a very different experience you're having. A lot of European immigrants too will be like, oh, like everybody was so nice to me in this country, like even though I'm just like a piece of dirt immigrant. And it's like, no, like people like white immigrants. Like they believe that that adds to the culture. They believe that that's like good for the country. They just don't like the brown immigrants. They believe that those people are taking resources away from the country. Whereas I promise you, all the white immigrants have done the same exact thing, if not more, because they are able to immigrate legally, more or less. When you're an illegal immigrant, you don't even receive any benefits. You don't receive any food stamps. Y'all are deporting the wrong ones, if I'm being honest with you, because I promise you, every immigrant that came here from Europe had absolutely no qualm using the American social safety net, because they view that as a given. They're like, well, yeah, of course I would use the help. That's what the country has to do. They have to support and get people on their feet. At the same time, they will absolutely fail to apply that to people of color. Like I said, a lot of people of color didn't even use immigration and welfare resources when they came here, because they are viewed more often than not as illegal. And they're usually escaping way worse conditions, by the way, too. So you're not even coming from the same place. Yeah, to me, there's just so many things that white immigrants really don't consider. And it makes it really actually easy for them to be racist and to be really dismissive of the issues that communities of color face in America. So it's like, yeah, I want to say yes. I do want to say that it's easier to spot it as an immigrant, but there are also reasons why you would absolutely be even more blind to it if you fed into the propaganda that comes out of American media every single day. Please be sure to check out my new podcast. Make sure that you follow me on everything in case this thing gets, banned. And make sure that you sign up on femfreeze.org to receive updates on where all of your favorite creators, myself included, will be moving to next post the TikTok ban in January. All right, Godspeed.
This is all I got from this video, and she said absolutely the truth. The truth is that there are always like favored, and things are easier for them than every other person, or even Black Americans. I don't know how it's about. That is the truth. And the problem with white immigrants. Now, I think while going through some comments and all that, somebody somebody made a comment that she is African, but they always probably favor them or Africans better than they favor Black Americans. And that is absolutely true, because you know why I am saying this? I'm saying this because I have been able to listen to you people. I've been able to see comments, read books, and watch a lot of you talk, speak, and I have really learned a lot from you people, right? And that is just something that I really do appreciate the fact that I ended up diving into African American history. That is something that I will forever be grateful for, because that also enabled me to understand where you all are coming from and how you all have been treated all these years. Because some of these things, when we sit down, or when some people, some people really do not know all this, right? And they do not understand. And also, there are also Black people that also do not understand some of our history. I do not blame anybody, right? But one thing with life is that at some point, you definitely might be inquisitive or very curious to know some certain things, and then you start reading up or you start checking it out. and then you start knowing the truth, right? So one thing that I am very much grateful for is the fact that I went into this, because it has really opened my all my five sense organs. Like, they're all open now and super active. So I am very grateful for you people. So back to the whole thing, right? So she was like, I mean, like also somebody was also talking about how some people, especially some immigrants, feel like, especially those white passing ones, feel like, anybody that can complain about America, or it's probably lazy or something, and or not serious and all that, because to them they feel like they have arrived, not knowing that some people, the people that made way, that opened the doors for everybody, because for everybody to troop into that country, it was people that labored, right, and suffered before all these things were possible to this very to today, right? If Black people did not go through all that, I am sure some of you would not smell that America. Some people are like so quick. I am American and da 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 da, immigrant and all that. So in everything, I think everybody should always be very grateful. And also, I see some Africans say that if it is not for African Americans, that they wouldn't like be wherever they are and all that. That the people that open the doors for everybody are African Americans. But some people are so quick to tell you that the best place to ever be in this world is America. That is them, forgetting that they get preferential treatments. The way they treat them is not the way they treat Black people, right? Then when you as a Black person complains, right, they feel like, how can somebody of all place, of all this thing to complain is America, or it's this that a Black person or this person is complaining. No, they have to complain. Or it's just like telling me that maybe somebody is being paid. Like I remember the time I was talking about how people that look like me, when they work and all that, they felt like they are lazy because they are not paying them what they are supposed to pay them. Right? I mean, like, you are working, you should give me something reasonable for what I am doing. But some people would like to underpay you and want you to work for the rest of your lives. Black people already know their worth, and if you do something like that to them, they definitely will work out. But some other people, they probably will take the job and feel like you are not serious. You are the one that is not serious. Yeah, you are the one that is not serious. They know their worth. It looks like you have got a price tag. That's why to this very moment, it looks like they are in competition with Black people. But Black people aren't in competition with anybody because they are in their land. And that is them. So it is so easy, especially those white passing ones, to be quickly and easily favored, right? And they think it's it's a flex, right? But forgetting that it is a privilege, that most times they refuse to acknowledge that. And now, yeah, that reminds me, I came across as an African migrant. I have noticed that I am given more grace than AA. I am glad that she's saying the truth, because some people don't speak that truth. So this tells you a whole lot. And I hope if there are other people watching me, I hope you are running on this, because you all are so quick to come out and spew some rhetoric about people that look like me. Those people have gone, they've been through it all. And the best some of you can do to assist them, and join them in alliance with some certain things going on with them, is to look for a way to pull them down, thinking that you are doing them. You are doing yourselves. And then that reminds me, I wish there is how I can call eyes on somebody. I know some people are gonna lie and laugh, but I am not lying. This is me being truthful. I wish there is how I can call eyes on one African. What is going on an African young man. I really do wish, but yeah, it is what it is. I'm just going to draw the curtain here. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.